Dan's grandmother, and this is Pantaloon, which I used to read to his mother when he was not even born and she was a little girl. And this is the same book that's been kept all this time, and here's what the cover looks like. Okay?
Okay.
One morning, Pantaloon hopped on his shiny red bicycle and headed straight for the baker's shop. "Oh my," he said to himself, "I never can get enough of those delicious baked and iced things." And here it is. Okay, so he's on his bicycle. Now, at that moment, the baker, who looked like a jolly round potato, was making a list of things he had to bake that morning. Pies and cakes with strawberry icing, gingerbread men, and sugar and spicing, 12 wedding cakes with a lot of layers, 9 birthday cakes, and chocolate eclairs. There's the baker. He has lots of baking to do. "Sounds lovely," cried the baker, "but I'll never be finished by noon unless I have some help." So he put a sign in the window that said, "Help Wanted." When Pantaloon saw that sign, he fairly flew into the shop. And there he is, Pantaloon the dog, with the help sign. The baker needed some help. "I'm a helper," he said, licking his lips. "Oh no, Pantaloon," said the baker. "You look to me as if you eat more than you bake." He opened the door very wide and said, "Goodbye, Pantaloon." And there's the baker saying, "Goodbye, Pantaloon." Then, since he was later than ever, the baker began at once to mix and beat and bake. Before long, another helper came tripping into his shop. This one seemed to be a very nice old lady in a big bonnet and shawl. You see the big bonnet and her shawl? "I'm a lovely cook," she said, "and I never eat between meals." "Then you're the helper for me," laughed the baker, so happy that he danced the little old lady around and around in his shop. And there he is dancing the little old lady. I think probably when I was little and I was a helper, I probably helped eat. But here we are. But her shawl caught on the counter and her bonnet bounced off her head. And this wasn't a nice old lady at all. It was Pantaloon, cried the baker, throwing up his hands. Oh, Pantaloon wanted to get into the bakery. So he pretended to be a little old lady. "Goodbye," yelped Pantaloon. He leaped on his bicycle, hurried along to the barber shop. All the time he was being clipped and combed and curled. He was trying to think up a new plan for getting to get to be a helper in that bakery shop. And here he is with the barber. See the comb? Barber is cutting.
Okay. Part 2.
After a great hustle and bustle, the baker was ready to ice his cakes. He opened a sugar bin, and it was empty right down to the bottom. No sugar! Away he ran to his going-to-market hat, wearing his going-to-market hat. You see him running wearing his going-to-market hat? Then back he came, carrying such a large bag of sugar that he never saw Pantaloon's bicycle, which had somehow rolled in front of his door. "Oops," cried the baker, and down he came, sugar and hat all in a heap. He fell over the bicycle. sugar and all. When Pantaloon saw what had happened, he wanted to hide under the barber's chair, but he ran bravely out and helped the angry, bruised, and bumped baker into his bed. There is Pantaloon helping the baker into bed. I wonder if you all have ever helped anybody into bed. Okay, don't worry about a thing, he called. Then he, Pantaloon, mixed the icing, iced the cakes, loaded everything into the baker's truck, and delivered all the cakes and cookies in the nick of time. And there's Pantaloon. You think he could really do all those things at once? He's a pretty talented creature. Okay, what happens next? People were delighted to have their pies and cakes and cookies brought to them by such a prompt poodle. Are you the baker's new helper? They asked. Maybe I am, grinned Pantaloon happily. They're all the people that are happy because Pantaloon brought them the cakes and the cookies. But on the way back, he remembered it was his bicycle that had caused all the trouble. Oh me, he cried. I'll never dare show my face in the baker's shop again. So he parked the truck and went home. There he is, on his way home. Before long, the baker was back in his shop. He mixed and he baked and he iced more busily than ever, because now he had more customers than ever. Why, there's Pantaloon, they asked. Where is he? His patients asked. The people that came to pick up their cookies and cakes, where's Pantaloon, they said. And they said, how you must miss him. Well, my goodness, said the baker, very much surprised. Well, I do miss Pantaloon, and what do you know about that? In the meantime, Pantaloon was playing his guitar, and he was singing, what care I for cakes with layers, or gingerbread men, or chocolate eclairs? And there he is, singing to his guitar. He tried on all his hats, and pretended each one looked much finer than the baker's tall white hat. But he didn't fool himself one bit. It's no use, said Pantaloon at last. He still wanted more than anything to be a baker. Look at him in his top hat. He still wants to have a baker's hat, I think. You ever seen a baker's hat? Meanwhile, the baker was looking all over town for Pantaloon. Everyone said, no, I haven't seen him. And the baker went sadly back to his shop. There is the policeman and all the people looking for Pantaloon. He put on his tall white hat. The baker put on his tall white hat and suddenly had such a splendid idea that he grinned a wide grin and began to bake the biggest, roundest, most perfect cat ever. The cake is beautiful. Biggest, roundest, perfect cake. Have you ever seen a cake like that? Now Pantaloon is in the bathtub scrubbing his back with a long-handled brush. Through the window came the beautiful smell of that beautiful cake. Here he is in the bathtub scrubbing his back. Have you ever seen a dog scrubbing his back? Now you have. In a wink, Pantaloon was out of his bath. He hurried down the street holding a big green umbrella in front of him. This way, he said, I can see the baker's shop, and the baker can't see me. He's going to hide with the umbrella. What do you think's going to happen next? and he stopped in front of the window. That wonderful shop looked even more wonderful. It was filled with pies and cakes with all kinds of icing, gingerbread men with sugar and spicing, and wedding cakes with lots of layers, and birthday cakes and chocolatey eclairs. Look at that window full of goodies. And right in the very middle of the window, tipped forward so you could read the letters, was a beautiful, big, round cake that said, "Please, Pantaloon, come back." There's the beautiful cake. "Please, Pantaloon, come back." "Here I am," laughed Pantaloon, bursting into the shop. "At last," cried the baker. He put a tall white hat on Pantaloon's head and sliced the cake. Then, side by side, the two sat in the window, eating and laughing and chatting away, the two happiest bakers in the world. And that is the story of Pantaloon.
Thank you, Vivian. Thank you very much.